Ever wondered what's the difference between capitalism and socialism? Well, they are two distinct political and economic systems, each with its unique attributes, advantages, and drawbacks. Capitalism is characterized by private ownership and the pursuit of profit. It's a system where the market forces of supply and demand drive the economy with minimal government intervention. However, it can lead to significant income inequality. On the other hand, socialism advocates for public ownership and meeting the needs of all members of society. It involves central planning by the government and aims to reduce income inequality. But the government plays a much larger role in economic decisions, which some argue can limit individual freedom. These are broad strokes, of course, and the real-world implementation of these systems often includes elements of both. So there's plenty to unpack and discuss. Stay tuned as we delve into the fascinating world of capitalism and socialism. First, let's delve into the world of capitalism. Picture a world where private ownership reigns supreme, where individuals and corporations control businesses, resources, and capital. This is the cornerstone of capitalism, a system that champions the concept of personal property. Now imagine a primary goal that shapes this world: the pursuit of profit. In capitalism, the drive to maximize financial gain is a powerful motivator. Businesses and individuals alike are fueled by the potential for economic success, constantly innovating and adapting to stay ahead in the race. But how does this race work? It all happens within the framework of a market economy, a place where supply and demand play a pivotal role, where prices and resources are determined by the inherent competition. The market is a bustling, dynamic entity, alive with transactions and negotiations, with winners and losers. Yet in this bustling market, the government's role is largely hands-off. In its purest form, capitalism prefers a laissez-faire approach, limiting the government's role to the protection of property rights and enforcement of contracts. It's a system that trusts the market to regulate itself, to find its own balance. However, every coin has two sides, and capitalism is no exception. While it allows for incredible economic growth and innovation, it can also lead to significant income inequality. The very nature of capitalism, with its focus on competition and profit, can result in a stark divide between the haves and the have-nots. Those who succeed in the market may accumulate substantial wealth, while others may find themselves struggling to keep up. So it's a system of contrasts. A system where the freedom to innovate and accumulate wealth coexists with the risk of economic disparity. A system that thrives on competition and rewards success, yet can leave some behind in the race. That's capitalism for you, a system where the market rules and profit is king. Now, let's journey into the realm of socialism. In the world of socialism, the means of production, from land to resources and major industries, are collectively owned. This collective ownership is designed to eliminate or at least minimize private ownership. The thought is that by doing this, we can make sure that everyone in society benefits from the wealth generated by these resources, not just a select few. Socialism also puts a heavy emphasis on social welfare. The primary goal isn't to maximize profit but to meet the needs of all members of society. Essential services such as education, healthcare, and social security are seen as rights for all citizens, not privileges for those who can afford them. A key characteristic of socialism is central planning. In socialist economies, the government often takes the lead in allocating resources and setting production targets. Unlike in capitalism, where the market is expected to regulate itself, socialism calls for more active economic decision-making from the government. The concept of reduced income inequality is also central to socialism. The aim here is to redistribute wealth and provide a more equal distribution of resources. This is often achieved through progressive taxation, where those with higher incomes pay a higher percentage of their income in taxes and social welfare programs. And finally, we have government intervention. Unlike capitalism, socialism requires a more significant role for the government in regulating the economy and addressing social issues. The government may own key industries or play a direct role in economic planning. However, socialism isn't without its criticisms. Central planning can lead to inefficiencies and lack of innovation due to absence of competition. Additionally, critics argue that too much government control can lead to a lack of individual freedom and choice. Just as with capitalism, the interpretation and implementation of socialism can vary greatly. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution, and different countries have adopted different versions of it, each with its own unique strengths and weaknesses. And there you have it, socialism, a system where the government plays a more active role and equality is the goal. Having explored both systems, it's time to compare capitalism and socialism. At the heart of both capitalism and socialism lies a basic difference in the ownership of the means of production. In capitalism, the means of production are privately owned and controlled, while in socialism they are owned by the public or the state. This difference shapes the way resources are allocated, and wealth is distributed in each system. In a capitalist system, the motive is profit. Businesses and individuals are driven by the pursuit of financial gain, which fuels innovation, competition, and economic growth. The market, governed by the forces of supply and demand, determines prices and decides where resources go. The government's role is mainly to protect property rights and enforce contracts, letting the market regulate itself. However, this drive for profit can lead to significant income inequality. The winners in a capitalist economy can accumulate vast wealth, while those less successful may struggle. It's a system that rewards risk and innovation, but it can also leave some behind. On the other hand, socialism advocates for meeting the needs of all members of society. It seeks to minimize or eliminate private ownership, instead favoring public ownership of the means of production. Essential services like healthcare, education, and social security are provided for all, and wealth is redistributed to reduce income inequality. Central planning plays a crucial role in a socialist economy. The government sets production targets and allocates resources, taking a more active role in economic decision-making. This can ensure that resources are used efficiently and that everyone's basic needs are met. However, it can also limit individual freedom and potentially stifle innovation. In terms of wealth distribution, socialism aims for a more equal distribution of resources. This is often achieved through progressive taxation and social welfare programs. While this can reduce income inequality, critics argue that it can also discourage individual initiative and create a dependency on the state. In terms of government intervention, socialism involves a significant role for the government in regulating the economy and addressing social issues. This contrasts with capitalism, where the government's role is typically limited, and the market is expected to regulate itself. As we navigate through these complexities, it's important to remember that no system is perfect. Both capitalism and socialism have their strengths and weaknesses. Capitalism can foster innovation and economic growth, while socialism aims to ensure that everyone's basic needs are met. Ultimately, the choice between capitalism and socialism often comes down to one's perspective and priorities. Some value the freedom and competition of capitalism, while others prioritize the equality and social welfare offered by socialism. As we have seen, both systems have their strengths and weaknesses, and the choice between them often depends on one's perspective and priorities. Now, what happens when you mix elements of capitalism and socialism? Well, you get what's commonly referred to as a mixed economy. This is an economic system that combines aspects of both capitalism and socialism. It includes the private ownership and profit motive of capitalism, but also includes government intervention and social welfare programs typical of socialism. One of the best examples of a mixed economy can be found in the countries of Scandinavia, such as Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. In these nations, businesses are largely privately owned and operate in a competitive market, much like in a capitalist system. Yet they also have strong social welfare programs and government intervention in the economy to ensure a certain level of equality and fairness. The government in these countries plays a significant role in providing public services such as healthcare, education, and social security, which are funded by high levels of taxation. This approach aims to ensure a high standard of living and economic security for all citizens, regardless of their income or social status. It's important to remember that even within mixed economies, there's a wide range of variation. Some lean more towards capitalism, others more towards socialism. The exact blend of capitalism and socialism in a mixed economy can change over time, influenced by social, political, and economic factors. The success of mixed economies in Scandinavia has led to a high standard of living, low levels of poverty, and a high level of economic equality. However, these systems are not without their challenges and criticisms, including high taxation levels and potential inefficiencies in the public sector. So, the question of whether capitalism, socialism, or a mix of both is better isn't a one-size-fits-all answer. It depends on a country's unique circumstances, values, and goals. And there you have it, an exploration into the world of capitalism and socialism. Remember, the best system depends on one's perspective, and often, a blend of both can lead to a more balanced society.